Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 114-110 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Riker, this was another interesting game. The Raptors have secured the 7th worst odds in the NBA, or 7th best odds to acquire a top pick. So you and I sort of projected maybe everyone comes back, all of the resting players return, and we see the Raptors go try hard for the last couple of games. Front office, management, coaching, they didn't go in that direction, starting a lineup of Malachi Flynn, Jalen Harris, Kem Birch, Stanley Johnson, Freddie Gillespie, but I said his name. Jalen Harris really showed out in this one. Scoring machine, 31 points, 4 assists. He's making the most of his opportunities at the end of this season.
And a couple points to break down here. First, rest. They weren't resting, Ben. They were injured. Otherwise, another fine is coming to the Toronto Raptors' way. But second, more importantly, before we get into Jalen Harris, what was Dallas doing in this one? Because you're really high on that team to make a playoff push. This is a must-win for them so they don't slip down 6. I don't know if they're still... or I don't know if they're yet out of the play-in picture. I know that they're 5th seed. They're 1 game or 2 games ahead of Portland. So I would have thought that they want to win this one. And they let a big lead slip. It was competitive down the stretch. Raptors looked like they could have maybe had a chance to tie. You're the big Dallas man of this podcast. Do you think that they actually have a chance here come playoff time?
I'm a big Luka guy. Tingus Pingus. We were bringing him up on a bunch of podcasts, but I don't know. They're inconsistent. Dwight Powell's just getting back in the lineup. He didn't have the greatest of games. Luka, had the triple-double, but he was pretty well locked down by this Raptors squad up to his standards, and he's been sort of taking a back seat lately. You're the Knicks guy. I've sort of taken on the Mavs team supporting bandwagon, especially now that Jamal Murray's injured for the Denver Nuggets. And the Portland Trailblazers, they're another team we've jumped on the bandwagon for. But I don't know. The Raptors, and off the bench, I guess Jalen Brunson played well for them. But the Raptors, they showed a lot of heart tonight. And despite the fact that this team, didn't have its top 8 guys, Riker, I think that's a fair thing to say. But they came out and, as you said, made a late push. They were really down in the dumps in the first half, and probably Dallas took their foot off the gas a little bit. And the Raptors capitalized. And we gotta talk. We can't just gloss over Jalen Harris, because 31 points for my guy. The second round pick, people were debating if he's better than Malachi Flynn, Fred VanVleet. Is he a better number 2, the best number 2 in Raptors history, better than Kawhi Leonard? I don't know, but he's hitting threes, he's driving the lane, he's a certified bucket, and we knew this when he came out in the G League, and I've been saying this on podcasts, Riker. He's doing all the other things that will get him minutes, and that's putting him in the starting lineup over a DeAndre Bembry, right? He's doing all the other things solidly enough so his scoring prowess can be put on full display. And Riker, we sort of glossed over him in the last podcast when we discussed Stanley Johnson, Bembry, Utah, right? Who could be the guy that gets brought back next season and has a role with this team? We assumed Jalen Harris would be here, but maybe he's still a season or 2 out before he gets a real rotation opportunity. But the way he's been playing, again, it's been one night it's Stanley, one night it's another guy, tonight it's Jalen Harris, but the way the scoring display he put on tonight, do you think he could potentially be a rotation piece next season or a fringe guy?
It's way too early because we don't know who's going to get picked up in the offseason, Ben. But I'm seeing a lot of people say he could eclipse Fred VanVleet, which is a huge jump. But at least he looks like Drake. And that's the minimum criteria for point guards on this team. So he's already got that check mark. Ben, what I really like about this guy, his shiftiness, his quickness. You could say the same thing about Malachi Flynn, but he has that same sort of quickness, I think, that maybe Fred VanVleet doesn't have, and so he has maybe that step up. His stroke looks really good, as all guards need to have, and he's the absolute biggest of all the guards. He's 6'5" compared to Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Malachi Flynn's 6'1" frame. So if he gets more consistent minutes, I mean, he hasn't played a lot this NBA season. Tonight he got 27 minutes. Last 3 games he's averaged over 25. Right. And he's done significant impact in those 3 games. So if we keep him around next season, no reason why he couldn't be competitive with Malachi Flynn, who we thought was a lock to be backup point guard.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Jalen Harris is more of a scoring guy, but we do have a couple of super chats. Riker got the animations playing. Hopefully, when I play the animations in this podcast, we don't have ASAP Rocky going on tune for another minute. But Peasant Plays, the key Steady Freddy has been taken. His name should be given to Peasant Plays because Peasant Plays has been steady in those super chats coming out saying Jalen Harris and Malachi look like Naruto and Sasuke. Sasuke? I'm messing up that name. Don't know who either of those guys are. I'm not into the anime. You want to speak on that super chat, Riker?
Well, I don't want to spoil it to anybody that's about to get into Naruto, but Sasuke ends up being, he goes from protagonist to antagonist. So I don't know if there's a little bit of foreshadowing, but we do love to see that inter-team rivalry, especially when it's position play, fighting for a rotation piece. It only ever brings out the best in players, right? When it becomes an issue is if a certain player needs a defined amount of minutes in order to be good. Look at Norm Powell, right?
Yep.
And so, but I think it'll be competitive next season between Malachi and Jalen Harris, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, certainly. And Wade, he's been another guy hopping in the super chats recently. In the late stretch of the season, he asks, who would win a series? The 2019-20 or 2020 Raptors, or I'm assuming the 2016 Toronto Raptors?
Let me ask you that question, Ben.
I'm high on that 2016 team. Obviously, that squad last year with OG Anunoby, we really could have made the finals last season. You and I are of that belief. If it wasn't the bubble, if we had that real home court advantage. So that's a tough one there, but just the energy Bismack Biyombo brought to that 2016 squad, it was majestic. It was watching that, making the Eastern Conference Finals. I remember we beat LeBron in Game 4. He gave us Game 3. We blew him out. And then Bismack Biyombo was just blocking people Game 4. DeMar DeRozan's hitting clutch shots. That season, Lowry's hitting half-court shots in playoff games. I don't know. I think if we had a crowd, I guess he's asking roster-wise and all that logistics stuff. I see where Wade's coming from, but in terms of impact on my life, I'm going 2016 because that was just a tremendous year.
That's fair. Was Luis Scola on that team, Ben?
He was their starting power forward, I believe.
It's funny. We were playing this game tonight. We had a bit of a board game night, and one of my friends, so it was a game where you had 5 seconds to say 3 items of a category, and the category was 3 NBA players. And my friend didn't watch, he doesn't watch basketball, and the only thing he could think of in 5 seconds was Luis Scola. Couldn't think of LeBron James.
Is he Argentinian?
No, couldn't think of Kevin Durant. He could only think Luis Scola. Hilarious.
Honestly.
Anyways, then there's another guy that I wouldn't put him on the same tier as Luis Scola, who also wasn't amazing, but he's had some good moments in the NBA in Luis Scola. And this guy, a couple steps down, but Aaron Baines, but he had himself a game nonetheless. We saw it at the beginning in the chat function. People were saying, how did Aaron Baines have the best game of the season? Well, that's a good question.
That's a great question, Riker. 13 points, 5 of 6 from the field, 6 rebounds, and the pressure's off. He's playing more of his role. Kem Birch is out there. Freddie Gillespie starting at the power forward. And I don't know. Maybe it's the fact, I've been saying it, I think Aaron Baines is still a legitimate NBA player, just not at what we were asking him to do. And now, in a game like this, obviously you can't overstretch. I went on this rant while Raph was playing, so I hope I'm not repeating myself in the last podcast. But he's a guy that I think will find his footing in the NBA next season, and I'm happy he has an opportunity now at the end of the season, the same way Jalen Harris and these guys, the younger guys, are getting. I'm happy because Aaron Baines came into a situation he was not ready for, and I don't know, it's nice to see him have a nice game to sort of touch off his final becomings of a Toronto Raptor. I don't even know what to call it, but Yeah, Aaron Baines is here. He was disappointing, but I'm rooting for the guy. And a lot of people got big minutes saying we only ran a 7-man rotation. This is like some playoff rotations for Nick Nurse here tonight, Riker.
There was only 7 players left to play, Ben. Everybody and their cousin was out resting, injured this game, injured. They would have had to call up the whole Raptors 905 in order to staff an 8-man or 12-man rotation in this one. It was an odd game, and again, I'm left scratching my head at how Dallas could only manage to win by 4 points, almost let this game slip. I'm shocked.
Yeah, no, it's wild. This game, you don't want to overreact, and now we Aaron Baines is having a great game. Jalen Harris is looking like Michael Jordan Harris tonight. Malachi Flynn, he's also a guy we should talk about. You talked about the debate between him and Jalen Harris, but 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for Malachi Flynn. He had a really nice stretch when Fred and Lowry were sitting out night in, night out, and he had a really nice stretch. He's kind of came back down to earth the following last week or so, but it's nice to see him have another massive performance, at least box score wise, for this squad. Him hitting threes, him filling it up, and yeah, you went on the rant earlier. I think it's going to be exciting. It's exciting now that we have 2 guys, 2 rookies, 2 youngings that are going to be fighting for those bench positions. Obviously, we'll see what actually occurs with the roster structure and if we bring in more veteran players, but we have 2 clear guys competing for minutes. And I saw a chat earlier, I didn't catch the name of who said it, but we obviously joked about Jalen Harris, comparing him to Kawhi, comparing him to Fred and these guys. But, Riker, do you think it's fair to say, and we can include Malachi Flynn to this debate, that you're more impressed or enthusiastic about these 2 guys than you would be having Terrence Davis and Matt Thomas back? Because you and I were very amped up about those 2 last year.
Yeah. They had their shot. And they blew it. Mm-hmm. Because you have the opportunity in low pressure situations, right? Obviously, they were traded by the trade deadline, or else they wouldn't have been traded. Yep. But there was a lot of time before that when we realized this season is not going to be a championship run season. And so there was games where Terrence Davis got 30 minutes and he was inconsistent. And you can only get this type of situation where you're on a roster where you could be the second best player out there, right? Playing with a bench unit, you're given the green light to shoot from wherever you want. You're playing in a year where basically the coach isn't going to take you off if you're experimenting, because you're probably going to lose the game, and to still not be able to do enough with that to really solidify yourself as a regular rotation piece. That's why you and I were both ready to jump ship on Terrence Davis and Matt Thomas. That's not a knock against them. It's just you only can get so many opportunities in the league, and if you can't convert, that's it. Yeah. And unlike them, Jalen Harris, he has 3 games, 25 plus minutes, and impresses in all 3.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need a switch of scenery. If things aren't working out, you can't keep beating a dead horse when it's on the same team. So it is what it is. But we had a couple super chats here, and Peasant Plays back again in the super chat. I think I read earlier, I've been glazing over the chats. Apparently he got a new job, so he's been helping out the podcast, and the super chat's one of his favorite expense. And we appreciate you making these comments. We appreciate everyone in the comment section, anyone watching, the silent viewers, but the super chats get a little bit more notoriety. And he brings up an interesting point, saying we need to package for a trade for Jackson Hayes. Has a lot of potential, a high ceiling, and plays great defense. And he's a really interesting piece because the New Orleans Pelicans, they got Steven Adams. They signed him as a free agent. Obviously, Zion's up there as a power forward. And maybe having a bench guy that comes off and shoots more threes rather than as a high-energy defensive big might make more sense for the New Orleans Pelicans. And they could get some assets back for Jackson Hayes. And obviously, the Raptors, we need a starting center. Kem Birch is a fringe-level starter, but is really an ideal backup. Your thoughts on this take?
Don't discount how high the Pelicans are on Jackson Hayes. Mm-hmm. Don't discount how high. And my other thought is, if you're starting to do package trade deals for centers, there's other centers you can look at
sure.
around the league. right? You're looking at Rashawn Holmes, he's going to obviously get picked up somewhere in free agency, and I doubt a guy like that's going to get sign and trade, but there was a ton that we threw out, names we threw out during the regular season that I would prefer to approach first with trade deal before we kind of move down the line to Jackson Hayes in terms of skill set.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of athletic bigs out there, right?
But he is young. He is young. That's the one thing about it. And those guys develop. And he may fit that timeline with OG and those players. I think it's an interesting take, and certainly will be a name we talk about this long off season for the Toronto Raptors. We have another one from Danny Lovelace hitting us with the $1 super chat. Coming in, he messed it up, didn't put the words inside the inside the super chat, but ask when is the Ben versus Ryker 1v1 happening at the Grindhouse, or is it happening at the Grindhouse? When is it happening? We need to get to 20K. We've actually been losing subs recently because the Raptors are so bad. People just don't want to have anything to do with the Raptors, or maybe they're not a fan of Raph by A$AP Rocky. Who knows? Even though that stuff has happened in previous pods, or the downward spike. So get us to 20K. Get us to 20K. That one-on-one will happen. We'll probably have to record it before we get to 20K because you're only going to be here for so long. We could even film those 5v5 scrims because they're a lot of fun.
They're fun. The cardio isn't there. I also want to point out what a nice sweater you're wearing there tonight, Ben. I just realized it. Just look at your drip.
You know,
it's nice.
You see, usually on the podcast, I just wrapped up in a hoodie because I'm always cold in my house. But had to hustle home. We were out and about with Danny here, who's in the super chat. So looking fly for the podcast on a 1:30 a.m. on a Friday night. But this game, you know, Bembry came off the bench. I'm disappointed. And honestly, actually, I'll leave it for this. I'll leave a rant for the segments. Any other players you want to specifically talk about? Kem Birch has been consistent. He had shot 6 threes. I didn't even realize that. 6 threes for Kem Birch tonight. Putting those reps up for sure. That's
I was gonna say I didn't know how many he converted. I only watched him miss threes tonight. I would have been shocked if he hit more than 2, and sure enough, he only hit 1. So there you have it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But people are joking in the comment section, asking for a like spike. I'll throw the animation like spike before we go into the big segments. And Diljit Singh Narwhal. I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong. I always play this animation just so I roast myself just in case. But he's saying he or she is saying that they're getting their whole village to subscribe to the podcast. 20K incoming. Love the support. Everyone out there, tell your friends about the Raptors Digest because we got some fun stuff coming for the off season.
Tell your whole village about
village,
podcast.
City, community. I don't know what are the sizes of things.
Municipality. I have no other words, so I should have searched synonyms and then started spewing them off and pretended I knew them all, but that's it, Ben. I'd say we maybe swing it to the segments.
Swing it? We should get a swinging animation, you and I swinging over at Bannerman Park or something. I don't know. But tonight, the spicy play of the day. And honestly, it doesn't really go to any plays in this. Jalen Harris has just got to get the positive segment.
He had one where it's on NBA.com as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice that they put a clip on NBA.com. And he basically came up, nothing spectacular, but he was being defended by Luka Doncic. Came up, little hesitation, had him jumping, stopped, little pump fake, had him jumping a second time. He had him just like a ballerina, just dancing all around the place. Finished with the layup in the lane, a little up and under.
Bro, Jalen Harris, he's going to be a GOAT. And Peasant Plays bringing up another solo point in the super chat. Shout out Peasant Plays, getting all these super chats on the go. But saying Harris being able to get to the rim and finish is a testament to our outstanding player development. And you brought it up on that possession, right? The skill level, Jalen Harris's ability, that's what really, as you brought up earlier, is setting him apart from maybe the Fred VanVleet's, Malachi Flynn. It's not necessarily that he's better, but provides a different dimension of scoring to this team. Because Fred, obviously, he has a few contortionist finishes where the ball spins off the net, but is known for usually getting blocked or not finishing around the rim. Malachi Flynn, he hasn't shown a lot of that just yet. Obviously, Kyle is the GOAT at that in terms of small guards, but him being able to finish, shoot the threes, definitely going to be a positive thing for him going forward.
And on the development, remember too, he was balling out in the G League. I think he averaged 17, almost 18 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, almost 1 block, 50% from 3, and 46% from the field. So this dude was a stud playing in the G League, which is good basketball, and especially with those guys that are skipping their university eligibility going straight to pro, and they have that G League Ignite team. That's going to make the entire G League even more competitive, because guys that have been around for a while, they don't want to lose to a bunch of 19-year-olds. So I like the new dynamic of it, and it doesn't surprise me that Jalen Harris is able to come out and play well.
No, certainly. And I wanna before we swing into the OGs, there's a lot of fun stuff happening in the chat. Christian Mensez is getting his dog to sub. We appreciate. Bueno Kitty is dropping into the like section for a like spike for Reiki. Shout out Reiki when I messed up your name at 2 a.m. last night. Eric E. Hash. I hope I'm pronouncing that one right as well. But he says, love your cast, guys, for the first time here. We appreciate it. We're welcoming new people onto the bandwagon. This is the time to jump on Raptors podcasting bandwagons. Got another Jenny Driscoll shout out. Her name hasn't been brought up on many of pods, but I don't know. It's a fun podcast, fun chat. We'll have a fun alarm on this. But Ryker, not all plays can be the spicy Pele of the day, and some just make you say, "Oh, geez." And tonight, the "Oh, geez" plays of the day. Do you have one in mind for tonight, Ryker?
I did not, Ben. I tune in late game. It's 20-point game, 14-point game. It's a bit of a blowout, as you'd expect. The full, healthy, full strength Dallas Mavericks, which need this win in order to keep that 5th seed, all of a sudden, it's a 4-point game. It's a 2-point game. They could have almost lost it into overtime. So I'm giving that the OGs. That was even a scenario that happened to close out this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to the squad just for playing 7 guys when you have players that can play. And it's not even going to affect the tank, right? We are officially on full tank mode. It's set. It's locked in. We have tanked. So I don't understand why we just don't play our guys. I'd like to see us get a couple of wins down the stretch now that we've locked in the tank, locked in the position. But we have another super chat before we go into the final segment. Paul Blunt, Ben and Reikis, the best swingers in the biz. How did
you do your swing? Did you swing this way, or did you do a swing, or like a swing?
Is skipping rope? What? Yeah, swing like that.
We'll swing it into the segments.
Have you ever done do you watch Recess as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like TJ, all those guys, the guy with the green jacket, Whatever. Do you remember the episode where it's TJ, right? I'm not messing that up.
No, I think it's AJ or RJ or something.
Okay, whatever. But there was a video. I think him and Vince or something tried to do the full swing around the top. Remember, it's an episode that's stuck in my brain. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, it's a legendary episode. Have you ever done that? I remember trying that so many times as a child and as an adult.
No, because you come up this way and then at almost the apex, you come straight back down.
So is that like physically possible, or were we lied to as children?
If there's any physics buffs in the comment section, I think that this train of thought is enough to give you the OGs, if not the gold star.
No, I have a good
Ben,
gold star.
that's a perfect segue to go into the Damari Carroll gold star. So take it away.
Tonight, the Damari Carroll gold star, and it is going to me. No, it's going. No, actually, it's not going to me. It's going to Stanley Johnson, DeAndre Bembry. I guess Stanley Johnson's all right. Maybe not just Stanley Johnson, but I'm in desperation mode in my fantasy league. And I dropped Bradley Beal, who's injured. I don't know if he's going to play. There's only 2 days left. He might play in the next game, and I took a risk for no reason. But I said, Stanley Johnson, DeAndre Bembry, we're probably not going to play a lot of guys, and I was right. 35 minutes, 38. Stanley had a massive fantasy line in the previous game. I'm like, bring it back. Have another big night like that. Drag me out of this hole that I could potentially go into. And Bembry, 8 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Solid. Right? 15 points, 10 rebounds, 5 of 16 from the field. Okay. But I wanted some big nights, and unfortunately, didn't happen. Didn't work out in my favor.
I'm shaking my finger, Ben. You're trying to put this off onto Stanley Johnson. That's going back to you because you should have picked up Jalen Harris.
He wasn't available. Someone picked him up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was gonna go all Raptors, just so I'd be more excited watching this game.
Wow.
Cool story, bro.
Ben, it's the perfect time. It's been 217 people I'm seeing in the lobby right now, which is insane. Maybe it's because of a bit of a closer game. People are a little bit more excited. I am blown past my bedtime right now. Fans of the podcast know I go to bed before 12, so this one hurts me because it's 1:41 a.m. in Newfoundland right now. But Ben, it's been a very interactive chat. Let's give people their time to get on to the podcast in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Riker, what song do I play during this?
Something. Oh, Jamaica. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. All right, I'm bringing it back in. You said what song? I started talking as soon as the actual animation flashed. It'll be awkward if a song actually is playing because nobody will hear this part anyways. But
we wouldn't know for 2 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. This part was all going to be washed out. But I don't know if you like Young Kodak, Mr. Kodak Black, but he dropped the new EP today. And there's a song called Z Look Jamaican. And I can't say what the line is because, as you'd expect, it is not appropriate, but it made me laugh out loud. So if anybody listens to Z Look Jamaican, listen until you hear just the most ridiculous line I've ever heard in rap. So
I'm excited to check this out. J. Cole dropped his album, but we'll get into all that because there's a lot of questions happening, specifically on Josh Giddey. Riker, cool sounding name. Sounds like Josh Goodwin. Goody. Do you think we should, do you have any idea who he is?
Oh, should we? Oh, it's a prospect.
Yeah, it's a prospect, yeah.
No, we're going to give our full draft analysis breakdown. We don't want to get ahead because there's a lot of research that needs to be done before we can start spewing our nonsense onto the video.
And Riker, we have a super chat peasant plays. He's back again, rocking it out. The people need WNBA facts. Riker, I hope that's what you're researching right now as you attentively check out the screen.
Yeah, let me give you a WNBA fact, all right? So, first game of the WNBA season, this season, started tonight. And it was opened up by, get the mispronunciation segment ready, but New York Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu, Ionescu,
I'm playing
Ionescu. NBA's, not only was this the season opener, it's also the NBA's 25th anniversary season. She hit a game winner tonight. Good job. 90-87. She hit a 3 with 0.04 seconds left. Splash.
Bro, that's a good WNBA fact there. So the season started tonight? I think I saw it on
Season
TV,
started tonight.
On the guide.
Actually, it was pretty deep 3 and contested. It was pretty lit. She splashed it.
Splashing those shots home. About times in the chat saying you guys never speak for 2 minutes after the alarm. Also saying that he's going to check out or he or she or whatever is going to talk about the Leafs Digest after, or watch the Leafs Digest. They got I don't know if I have the picture still here.
I think they lost tonight against the Jets.
I do. We have the Leafs Digest logo. I'm going to give it a little shout out. Good little plug. Their playoffs is coming right around the corner. Certainly the Raptors playoffs is not on the way. But, the Leafs, check them out. Whether you're a hockey fan or not. Helps out the boys over there. Helps us out. Subscribe to their channel. Build it out. Just entertaining content. But, Riker, Apparently Josh Giddey is good. People are asking about Jermaine Cole. You know? Did you listen to the album? Yeah,
J. Cole.
Yeah. Did you listen to the album?
Cole World. Yeah, I listened to it.
What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I'm a little bit biased because Forest Hills Drive had a lot of slappers, and that's going to go down as one of the GOAT hip-hop albums. And so you can't compare it against that. It's a hard standard to live up to, but there's a couple of good songs. It'll take me a couple of listens before I really like it, but first impressions were good.
Yeah. No, it's Forest Hills is the wave.
About time. Hope the Raptors know how to golf. Well, Kyle Lowry was huge into the golf during the bubble, and I don't know who else was playing. Norm. That's it.
Yeah, Norm's a big golfer. I think Fred's gotten into it. Eric Hash, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I'll give myself I think I already gave it for his name. Asking our Twitter handles. I don't think I've posted a tweet in maybe 3 years. I'm at I am Ben Rogers. I think I am. I am Ben Rogers. Do you have a Twitter, Riker?
Nope.
I remember you made a few tweets
social.
in grade 7 roasting Team New Brunswick, their provincial team. Sorry for anyone in the New Brunswick chat. That was you, right?
No.
Talking smack to the... No, I'm 100% sure it was you.
I never had Twitter.
I'm pulling up it might have been on Facebook or IG. I'm not sure.
IG wouldn't have been around back then.
Ayo, IG, the early days. But Steven Tanaka's out here with another super chat saying, will Norm and the Blazers avoid the play-in? That's a big question.
This is a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Because I would love so much to see 7 and 8 play-in tournament, LA and Golden State, after LeBron and Curry have faced each other 4 consecutive years, not the last 2 seasons obviously, but 4 consecutive years in the NBA finals, to have to struggle to get the last play-in spot. Oh my God, that would just be hilarious. But I don't know if they'll be able to do it or not. I believe Portland needs to win their next game and their final game, which is against... It's against...
Is that a question, or are you searching?
Denver.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So tough game there. I don't know. I just feel like the Lakers... I see... I like LeBron. The Lakers are my team that wins the championship that I think can realistically make it, even though I'm rooting harder for the Blazers and the Mavericks. But to see a Lakers-Clippers first-round matchup, that would be such a great sight to see. I'd really enjoy seeing that. Apparently Eric is from New Brunswick, so he's gonna go after whoever made that those minor roasts on our battles with Newfoundland and New Brunswick and those national tournaments or whatnot. They always used to get the best of us, but I don't know.
I think the real questions are winding down. There was a lot of real Toronto Raptors related commentary at the beginning of the podcast, and then when we flip it over into the segment where we actually respond to people making their comments, the actual Toronto Raptors content sort of waned off. But that's it. It'll be interesting now. We only have one more game. People don't need to stay awake late to watch the final podcast, the final game reaction. And then it'll be a fan service. We're going to follow the Portland Trailblazers into the playoffs. We have to follow the one ex-Raptor that's still remaining. I don't know if Memphis is anywhere in the playoff picture, Ben, on the west side. But
the Lakers, Blazers, and Warriors. I don't know if that's
no,
doable
it would
there.
be the Lakers and
whoever, like 3. I think those 3 teams.
But who are the 2 below? I think it's San Antonio.
San Antonio and Grizzlies
and Memphis.
Yeah.
Because I'd still like to root for Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah.
Let us know, actually, because obviously San Antonio would have DeMar. In the comment section, between ex-Raptors, DeMar DeRozan, Jonas Valanciunas, Norman Powell, who are you most excited to watch on a different team in the playoffs, and who would you prefer that their team goes the farthest? I'm picking Portland and Norm. For obvious reasons. I think that team has the best potential to make a playoff push, but Ben... You with me there on Norman Powell? Yeah,
and those 3 teams, Norman Powell. I just like the Blazers more than those other teams. So it's not necessarily a Norm over Jonas or Norm over DeMar by any means, but I just like the Portland Trailblazers. So that's a big thing. We'll be talking about all of those guys in the Courtside Digest. We've been teasing that there. But want to see what people are saying.
James Troy, Eli D saying DeMar. Christian Meneses is saying Pal. Jet Sail, DeMar. People are saying Steve Nash, that we should root for Steve Nash. Steve Nash was obviously your favorite player growing up before Kyle Lowry. And
Shahira Rana, I gotta go on a little rant. As those come in, you keep track of who people are cheering for, Riker.
All right.
But the Nets are the worst franchise. Not in terms of bad, like poor, winning and any of that. Just my most disliked franchise of all time. They took Vince Carter. They stole Vince Carter from us. Just as the Raptors started off, they almost won their first playoff series in forever, right? And then they lose to Paul Pierce, the skeet Paul Pierce. They lost to him at the buzzer in a Game 7. They're chanting, "Oh, this is my house. I'm king of the North." Paul Pierce, big idiot. Whatever, right? That's there. We trade away Damari Carroll, and they get a first for Damari Carroll. They finesse us of him like that. Then they, as a kid too, I usually have a timeline, but it's 2 a.m. here, so it's all disjointed. But as a child, my 8-year-old self, or however old I was, when the Raptors with Jose Calderon and Chris Bosh make the playoffs, they go up against the Nets, and Vince Carter's there just to ruin my hopes and dreams as a young child. That all occurs, and then I don't dislike any NBA players. Whatever, right? They're just basketball players. But my least favorite guys in the league are Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They always have been, just for whatever reason. I enjoy the players they play against more. I enjoy the rooting against them. And then 2 of them team up on the Brooklyn Nets, Riker. My least favorite franchise. Come on, you got to hate the Brooklyn Nets.
So basically what you're saying is all of the negatives, all of the resentment that you have is not it's more than what you would have towards supporting a Canadian head coach. And I would have to agree with you. I tend to agree with you.
And Nash is my guy too.
Yeah, well, and Kyrie Irving made it very well known at the beginning of the season that he didn't think that Nash was the defined coach. He thought that anybody could step up in the coaching position as demanded by any particular game. So it's one of those situations where I feel like you could put me, you, my mother, anybody into the head coaching position of the Brooklyn Nets, who are the number 1 offensive ranked team of all time in NBA history, and you'd probably still win a similar amount of games. So that's maybe a hot take, but it's hard to support when it's just so easy, the path to victory, right? So that's my opinion on it. I would have to agree with you. Ben, another super chat.
Another super chat from Steven Schnapp. To quote Masai, F Brooklyn. That is my stance. That has been a mantra of mine.
There is one team in the state of New York, just across the bridge, I might say, just a little subway ride away, that we can all support. It's not a Canadian coach, but there is a Canadian player, one young RJ Barrett, who I've bumped into coming off of the urinal, and they're in there. They're in there. They're 8 games better than Boston Celtics this season. Crazy. New York, baby.
Do you think we both think they can beat the Hawks?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think they could beat the Heat?
They're not getting past second round.
Think they could beat the Heat?
That wouldn't be their second round matchup.
No, in the first round. Because the Heat they're all kind of bunched up together, I believe.
Yeah, Heat would be a good series, actually. I think they would beat the Heat as well, though.
Yeah, so...
Wow. Oh, I think we have a newcomer to the...
to the super chat? Ooh.
Yeah.
John Cambori? Is that a Camboris? I don't know if it's French or not, so I don't know if we should pronounce that.
I like how you went French first.
It's I'm trying to learn it. I've been slacking recently, but getting back on my vibe. But should Jalen Harris be in our rotation next season? We discussed this a little bit earlier on, but the way he finishes, his scoring ability, offensively, he's there, I believe. Especially as a bench scorer, coming off and do those things. But the question with Jalen Harris is, can he do all the other things? And I think he's shown the ability to do this somewhat in these final stretch of games. Obviously, against teams where you're tanking and maybe they're not depleted teams, whatever. You can't take small sample size, not an accurate reflection of really intense games. But if he can do all those little things, box out, be at least neutral on defense, I think he's definitely going to be in the rotation.
Definitely. Wow.
Assuming we don't get any crazy veterans or something like that.
Well, never assume, Ben, when it comes to off-season moves that Masai Ujiri could pull. And yeah, we broke it down at the beginning. He has a much bigger frame. Well, not frame. He's not strong necessarily more than Fred VanVleet or Malachi Flynn, but 6'5", I think that it there's a benefit to that. And but my brain, my everything is just being drawn to Luca Ricci, his negative comment, the Knicks wouldn't beat the Heat. Say something like that again, and I'm banning you from the chat function, sir. Do not criticize
Luca's a guy.
my New York
He's
Knicks.
always in the chat.
Do not criticize my New York Knicks.
No, it's I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. That would be a good series, though. That would certainly be, because the Heat are the veteran whatever, but R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, I think the playoffs could be really good this year. I think they could be really exciting, especially if fans
not second
come back.
round though.
Well, the Heat Knicks, or
It wouldn't be Heat Knicks in second round though.
yeah. So what are you saying in the second round?
I'm saying it won't be good for the Knicks in the second round because they're going to play. Yeah. They would play 4.
They'd be playing the Sixers if they win, likely.
Yeah. So it would just be tough. Christian Minutes. They wouldn't beat the Hornets. Ben, hold me back.
I don't know how to do this. What side are you on? Holding him back, just like in those box outs in that scrim today. Bully ball down low. Rose going for the win. What?
Jean Cambarry. Jean Cambarry.
I hope your name is French. But with another super chat, Rose going for that ring. What would you do if the Raptors make it, or the Knicks make it to the finals? What are you doing?
It would not happen. It wouldn't happen. Well, what I would do is I would wear this hat and my New York Knicks sweater and my New York Knicks jacket. I would wear them all out in public for a little while at least. Nobody would get the context because Newfoundland is not much of a basketball city, but hey, it is what it is.
Hey, it's underrated basketball city. You'll get a few people. Maybe you should interview people in the streets in Newfoundland. That'd be an interesting video. Not Donald Fagan coming in with a super emoji. It doesn't look like a sticker, but with the $420, I believe he's done this before. The basketball, the dino. We appreciate all the super chats coming in. The chat's been popping. Everything. John Cambry is saying it's English, so we've been messing up that name.
Jonas Vasu
Camboris, we assume.
That's probably it.
I'm
just picturing what it would be like if we interviewed on the streets Newfoundlanders about basketball. What do you think about the New York Knicks? What do you think about the New York Knicks' potential to move on in the playoffs? Yes, boy, the New York Knicks. I don't know what.
Hey,
don't watch too much of that basketball.
How can you not throw on a Newfoundland accent, bro? That's tough.
I don't know.
You gotta throw in that accent there. We got Eric there from New Brunswick by, so get a few people in the bubble, throw on that East Coast accent. I won't do it for too long. When you're in the podcast voice, you're projecting. It's tough to throw on that accent, but I don't know. Maybe we could do a full pod in a Newfoundland accent, Riker. Take you a few days around the bay, get your roots talking.
Terrible at accents. Anyways, we're pushing 2. I'm running on fumes here, Ben. Might be time to start to wind it down. This one went really long, considering how this game went and our viewership of it, relative viewership of it. Sometimes the chat just makes it fun. It makes you want to keep it going, but I'm getting towards the end here, so let's start to wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. Fun podcast. Talked about some swinging. Talking about basically everything. We appreciate everyone that's watching these games down the stretch. We'll do something special for the final game of the season. Something cool will happen. So stay tuned. Sunday afternoon, Raptors Digest will react to the final game of the year. Then, this summer, we'll be breaking down all the news, everything rocking. It was mentioned earlier, after this video, after we go off, signed off live, we got 200 people in here. Everyone check out the Leafs Digest. Quality stuff. 10 out of 10 recommended. throwing their stuff in there. And we're teasing the Courtside Digest. The expansion is happening. It's a growth. We're taking over TSN. I don't know. We're TSN, ESPN, CNN, Fox News. Everything will be Digest. But
listen, we'll put on a British accent and we'll take on the BBC as well.
Everything. It's coming. So stay tuned to the channel. We appreciate everyone hopping in the chat, watching along. If we're watching it later, check out the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, raptorsdigest.ca. All of that cool stuff. Ryker, do you have any last words on this video?
No, I don't, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Cheers.
Good night, Reiki.
Good night, sweet Riker.